talk about Bolivia.
All right.
All right, but Nando, give us though. I've made the case a little bit, but give us the case before we get to what's happening there now, because there is efforts to have a coup. There is efforts to remove Evo Morales. There was new tapes that came out today, reported on Telesur, kind of indicating the U.S. role in it, which
shocking.
Yeah, right. But take us over the Evo Morales record.
So Evo Morales is a pretty remarkable guy, any way you slice it. Latin America's first indigenous head of state. He's been president of Bolivia for, I think, 14 years now, and basically cut poverty by a fourth, by 25%. GDP has gone up like close to 50% in his time in office. He really has presided over strong economic growth, the poverty reduction, inequality reduction, all the good things. Like he really is one of the more successful leftist leaders that we've had in a long time. I mean, he's kind of like a mini Lula in that sense.
Yeah.
And of course, gets no credit, outside of no opinion. Our friend of the show, right. But yeah, I mean, he really is just like a remarkable guy. And I remember when he first got elected, the way he was treated in the United States press was absolutely shameful. Just absolutely shameful. He was seen as an absolute joke. I mean, it was just so clearly racist. They thought he was just this, this like dullard. And I remember when growing up in Miami at the time, Miami is pretty right wing, because it's all the bourgeois Latin America diaspora is there, and a radio show pranked him. They actually managed to call him impersonating the Prime Minister of Spain at the time, Zapatero, who was like a socialist. So he was like friendly with. They would like make fun of him for being friendly with Venezuela and blah blah blah. And they managed to call Evo Morales, pretending to be the Prime Minister of Spain, saying that he was promising like, I don't know how many hundreds of millions of dollars in aid. And Evo Morales went the next day and announced it in a press conference because he thought it was
real. Yeah.
And they all had a good laugh about it, and it was like a kind of an embarrassing,
so disgusting.
Yeah, kind of an embarrassing thing. And it was like, I mean, well, I don't know, like what do you expect? Of course he's going to announce it. Of course if he gets a phone call from him, he thinks it's a right. So, but he's against all odds. I mean, he's managed to really oversee a pretty remarkable time in office, in that Bolivia is a much better place for it. And like there's always a thing about like, yeah, he did change the constitution to allow himself to run for a third term, and a fourth term. So he ran originally the third term. And now a fourth term. And yeah, that's like, And
there's some bad environmental policies. Yeah. And there's some, look, I mean, I think the balance you always have to strike is supporting a broader social base outside of all of these parties to push things, for sure. And you do need to be able to have some critical distance. But on the other hand, man, it's like one thing that is I noticed this. There's one group of people who will just, they totally understand the need for pragmatism in fighting U.S. imperialism and achieving social gains in a place like Latin America, because they understand the context of it. And then they go to the United States and they're purity politics.
Right.
And, they don't understand why you would even vote for somebody as disgusting as Hillary Clinton to stop Donald Trump because he's a fucking white supremacist. And then there's people here who are just like, well, that's not very pragmatic. And then they go to some of the most contested political terrain in the world. A judge today, I'll cover it next week. A prosecutor was actually rejected because I think of the climate. They tried to arrest Dilma today in Brazil. There's a warrant for Cristina de Kirchner that came out the day after her and Fernandez won.
Yeah.
Plus the U.S. sanctions regime change.
Yeah.
So
all manner of
there's
other subterfuge.
assassinations,
Yeah.
all of this, and we'll get to that in a second. But there's one group of people here that it's like, well, you have to understand that Obama was dealing with a Republican Congress. Like, oh, Evo Morales might have been involved in some corruption.
Right.
And what I'm trying to say to everybody on both sides of that equation is that you need to be somewhat in reality in politics, and it's a balance. Like, I think some of these places have definitely gone, made more significant mistakes than others. They're all under siege.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is, if you are indigenous, if you're poor, I just simply don't believe. Like, look, he won re-election. I have no doubt.
Yeah.
He got more votes than the opposition.
Well,
I have no doubt that the social base of his party still formed.
And the fact that were he to have rigged the election, say for argument's sake, why would he invite the OAS to come audit this thing? Like, the OAS is not going to be friendly to Evo Morales. You know, like, it's just not, like, why would he invite the OAS to audit the election results and then commit to another vote if they find that they were tampered with?
Absolutely. And then also,
like,
unless
it seems like insane to me.
It's insane. And the opposition has done the classic play of, like, the first couple of days. And again, it's not covered this way in the United States, but let's be real. Like, burned buildings, did wild shit. And now they're calling for, now they are overtly calling for a coup and a military intervention. I just want to play this real quick. I'll get right back to you. But this is
the helicopter.
This is from over the weekend. I believe it was Sunday.
You suspect foul play?
I mean,
okay.
I can't discount it. This is an emergency landing of Evo Morales' helicopter. Anyways, I just wanted to play some of that. But anyways, Nando, back to you.
Americans are so naive and dumb when it comes to understanding the nature of the Latin American right wing. Is to take them at face value that they, like, believe in democracy or the free the peaceful transfer of power, limiting terms for presidents, all that stuff. Like, they don't give a shit about any of that shit. Like, they really could not give a shit about any of that shit. They use it as a cudgel against the left when it's convenient for them. And the Americans always was like, well, they do have a point.
No, I mean,
and it's like they're lying. They're lying. They're lying.
There's the new. I can't even keep track of all this stuff. They just released new Lava Jato revelations. The ex center left Peruvian president.
I still haven't even been able to get to.
Well,
that
it's just
story
they did
yet.
the same thing that they did to Lula.
Yeah,
that leaks show that the Lava Jato team.
And then he ended up killing himself.
No, this is another.
Oh, the other guy.
This is the one that they're trying to extradite from California.
Okay, yeah.
So speaking of which,
my friend, I hang out with him.
Oh, word?
No.
You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.